Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. Well, we have some big things going on from people in Kentucky. We have a Kentucky congressman up there in Washington, D.C., which has just filed a measure to completely eliminate the Federal Department of Education.
This is the way. This is the way.
And I say good for him. Do you realize that ever since we had the Department of Education, education in America has gone down? We have not always had this. The Federal Department of Education only came into existence during the Jimmy Carter years, and education was much better before it existed. It was in 1981. President Reagan had said, listen, we need to eliminate the Federal Department of Education and move the authority and funding back to the states. He said that in 81, after this group had only existed a year and a half, he realized this is a horrible idea. The Democrats pushed, let's eliminate it. Well, we finally have a congressman saying, let's do it. It is H.R. 899. So I encourage you to contact your congressman and say, hey, why don't you get on board with this? Let's take control away from this radical, unelected group in D.C. and give the control and funding back to the states with local control. Kentuckians ought to be the one deciding what Kentucky kids are learning. I'm putting a link for the way you can contact every single congressman in Kentucky right in the description of this video. I hope you'll do your part and let your voice be heard, because I think they'll be listening a little more because it's election year. And if they don't listen, well, maybe we can replace them with somebody better. Well, that's some of the things going on the national level. Let's talk about some of the things going on the state level. On the state level, they're debating Senate Bill 126. This passed the Kentucky State Senate this week, and it's on to the House for debate. This would say that a governor does not have the authority to give any pardons from 30 days before the election up until Inauguration Day. Personally, I don't think a governor should be allowed to pardon anybody for any reason at any time. And here's the reason why. They're in the executive branch, not the judicial branch. And we're supposed to have a separation of powers. The governor was not the victim in the crime, did not hear all the evidence in the trial, didn't put out the money to hire a lawyer to go through the court case. And yet, after somebody goes through all of that, the person is found guilty by a group of their peers. The governor can just say, forget all of that. I'm just going to let them go for free. I don't think they should ever have that authority. I'm Lee Watts, and I approve that message. But Senate Bill 126 would be a step in the right direction, saying they can't pardon for 30 days before the election until the day of the inauguration. Let's talk about Senate Bill number 134. This would say that this gender identity garbage and poison is going to be protected as a civil liberty. And let's just nail this down real quick. If somebody is one thing and they tell you they are the opposite, that makes them a liar. I'm Lee Watts, and you can quote me. I approve that message too. If you are saying you're one thing and you're actually the other, makes you a liar. Well, this law sure wouldn't like that. Senate Bill number 134 would say, no, this is going to be protected under the law, this lying to people. And just everybody think about this real quick. Did you ever notice these gender identity confused people? They always want to read at the library to the little kids' story hour, and they want to go to the schools and have these things. How come these people never want to go to the nursing home and read stories or anything like that? They always want to target kids. Anybody else know that? By the way, anybody else notice that Michelle Obama is substantially bigger than all the other women? I just thought I'd throw that in for something to think about. Let's look at a few other things here. First of all, be Senate Bill number 182. And this would make it illegal for employers to mandate you getting a certain kind of injection and pumping some chemicals into your bloodstream. This would protect Kentucky workers, saying you're not required to do this. Your employer can't mandate it to you. I think that's a great bill protecting individual liberty. That is Senate Bill number 182. Well, each week I always end the program by saying liberty is not a spectator sport. And what that means is we can't just sit back and wait for somebody else to do something. We've got to participate and put some skin in the game. So each week I am highlighting somebody who's in office or running for office who's a true conservative that is standing up for liberty, conservative principles, and pushing back against the swamp and the radical leftist. This week, I'm very proud to say the person that we're highlighting is Kentucky State Representative Steve Doan. This guy stands up for conservative causes.
Hi, this is Rand Paul. I'm honored to serve as your U.S. Senator, fighting against the bureaucrats and fighting for individual liberty and market freedom. We need to elect like-minded candidates to office in state and local elections in Kentucky. That's why I'm endorsing Steve Doan for state representative. Steve is a strong conservative who will fight for fiscal sanity, the sanctity of life, and the rule of law. Join me in supporting Steve Doan for state representative.
When I was in the military, I was deployed to the war in Iraq, and the Iraqis have a saying, a man is best judged not by who are his friends, but by who are his enemies. Do you know who the enemies of Steve Doan are? It's the radical leftist teachers groups who are spending up to $100,000 to remove him and put in a radical woke person. So this is the kind of person I hope that you'll send $10, $20, whatever it is, every week. Set aside a few dollars to support a good, solid conservative candidate. I have a link in the description of this video where you can hit the button and you can donate $10, $20, whatever you can, to the Doan campaign to put this patriotic conservative back into office. Well, each week I like to mention where I'll be speaking out in the week to come. This coming week, I will be preaching at the Calvary Road Baptist Church in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I'll be preaching at the 11 o'clock hour. If you're near Shepherdsville and don't have a church home, we'd love to see you over at Calvary Road Baptist this Sunday. Well, that's the news for this week. So until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.
Things that make you go,